So, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to introduce you to Stan Rousseau. I hope you take this hour as a massive, massive gift. I know how busy this man is. I know how he operates. I know what he charges. And I cannot afford him for an hour. And you guys are getting him for an hour. So I really hope you appreciate this. I am going to hand the platform over to Stan for the next hour because he's got a powerful message he wants to share with you guys. So, Stan, my friend,
Thank you, Dion.
floor is
Uh,
yours.
thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dion, for the kind introduction. Dion always makes me sound so much better than what I really am. And I have a simple philosophy in life is that, if I have to tell you of all the things I've achieved in life and how good I am, it equally means I have to tell you about every single time I failed in order to get there, because it's a long journey, and there I was 30 years later, an instant success. And I want to share a journey with you this morning. And Dion kindly asked me to pop in and have a chat. And before I share that journey, how many of you would agree with me that there's something you can do today that will make your life better? Would you agree if I say there's something we can do that makes life better? Can we agree on that? Just show of hand, just put your hand up so I can see if you agree. Would you equally agree that there's something you can do today to make life worse? We can actually make life worse. Yeah, just show of hands. Would you agree with that? And one of the things that I've realized in my journey was that we often lean our ladder against the wrong wall, and it's quite possible that we can do things that really make life worse. And we ought to focus on the things that really make life better. And what I found is that there's literally three things that bring success in life and in business. And those three things are mindset, strategy, and action. And when I speak about mindset, which is literally my forte, my passion, my literally, I'm obsessed with what is possible for human beings. I talk about the habit of right thinking. When I speak about strategy, I speak about the habit of right planning. And when I speak about action, I speak about the habit of right implementation. And what I've learned is that we're on this journey from survival mode to legacy. And here's the thing, we stay in survival mode until we decide who we want to be, what we want to be, and what we want to have. That pushes us to stability mode. Now we live in stability mode, and for most people, we make the decision of what we want, and we stay in that stability mode forever and a day because we never do what we have to do. We don't take action. We don't take that small next step that moves us to success. And when we start helping other people become successful, we move to significance that allows us to get to legacy. And what we have found is that you have to be the right kind of person that does the right things to have all that life has to offer. And once you have, only then can you give, because you can't give what you don't have. Now, you joining a program with Dion, and he's really masterful at his art, and he's most probably the best trainer in NLP in the Southern Hemisphere, if not the world. Uh, you're joining with the right kind of person that does the right kind of things, and therefore have. But you have to realize, guys, as coaches, we cannot give what we don't have. And there's a couple of rules to the game we have to really understand. And those rules is that to be the right kind of person that does the right kind of thing so that we can have all that life has to offer and be in a position to help someone else be, do, and have more than that they thought it possible means we have to do a couple of things right. And I often, when I coach and train, use the example of you sitting on this aeroplane and you got your 2-year-old child or grandchild sitting next to you on the plane, and there over the Kalahari or the Karoo, there's a sudden loss of cabin pressure. Two of the engines shot out, and those oxygen masks dropped from the overhead panel. And I often ask people, do you grab that mask and you tug it hard? Do you put it on that little 2-year-old's face first, or do you put it on your face first? Now, more often than not, what people tell me is they're going to put that mask on that little 2-year-old's face first. And the reality of life is if we do that, both of us die. Because if you can't breathe, you'll pass out. You won't be able to put that mask on that child's face. So if you have to grab that thing and you tug it so the oxygen can start to flow and you put it in your face so that you can breathe, you're capable of not only helping the 2-year-old next to you, but also the old lady next to him or her, and also the person behind you in front of you. And here's what I want you to realize this morning. In this journey of coaching, of which you are most probably at the beginning, some of you have been around for quite some time. I see a couple of familiar faces on this platform this morning. But on this journey, you're going to touch lives. And I want you to realize the first thing this morning is that every life that you're going to touch, I want you to realize you won't only be touching that one life. When you touch a life that deeply, you will touch 1,000 other lives because you will touch the lives of every person that person touches in his lifetime. This is the power of coaching. This is the power of the career path we have chosen. But I have to realize in order to touch someone else's life, I have to be the right kind of person that does the right kind of things to get to that point. I have to realize that I have a mental capacity, and that's about input. There's a spiritual part to my life, which is about character and integrity. And you have to make a vow. That's the first thing we do. We have to make a vow that whatever it is you do, you'll make your customer, your client outcome your number one priority, and that you'll have utmost integrity. It's something that you cannot sacrifice for nothing. So it doesn't matter what size the paycheck goes. And you get good at this game. There are some really crazy paychecks sometimes. Dion have mentioned that I'm not the cheapest guy on the block, and I most certainly by a country mile are not the cheapest guy on the block because I solve real world problems with real solutions. But my focus and my vow to myself was that I will always make my clients' priorities outcome my number one priority, and that I'll always walk in extreme integrity. It's that one thing that you cannot sacrifice. We have to realize in order to do that, we have a physical being, and that's about persistent consistency. I have to look after this thing because if I don't look after it, I cannot give. In order to give, I have to give. So I have to look after what I feed this thing, how I look after it, how I take care of it. I have to realize in life it's not only about that, it's about family. And family is really about influence and example. People around you would learn more from you from what they see, the example you set, than what they'll ever learn from you from what you tell them. This is the truth. So when it talks about family in life's balance, it's about influence and example. And yes, of course, this is a business. We want to earn our keep. We want to make money. We want to go places, meet people, and do new things. So when I look at the financial part of life, it's about our dreams. And we often dream too small. And we've heard this old saying, and it's really been overused, but it's really true. You know, if your dreams don't scare you, they're too small. We tend to limit ourselves in the way we think. And I found out in my life's journey that had some incredible things in it, as Dion have mentioned, that we never push ourselves far enough. We live in first gear. We live with our brakes on. You have to let go of the brake a bit and move that gear lever up to fifth and sixth gear and see how far, what is possible? What does potential look like? Now, one of the things you're going to learn in this program, if not already have learned it from Dion, is that as human beings, we hold incredible potential. Most of the time, we do not know how far we can go. So our dreams need to be big. It's about personal. It's about goals. You're going to learn some incredible ways of setting goals and helping your clients find what they are after in life. If we don't know what we want, guys, we can never have it. If we never ask, the answer is always no. So I have to realize personally, what is it I'm chasing? What do I want? Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to have? If you don't know what you want, you can't have it. Most people don't achieve in life because they never decide what they want. And the moment they decide what they want, they have their circle of friends, their family, that'll tell them, oh, you know, our family is not good at business. We can't see that you'll make a successful business. We're not business people. They'll offer you excuses as to why you can't make it. And at some stage, you'll start believing those excuses and you'll find social proof that you can't make it. And I want to tell you this morning, it's utter rubbish. Utter rubbish. Here I am, living proof that you can make it. And I want to tell you today, if I could make it, anyone can make it. I grew up poor. I lost both my parents before my third birthday. I was adopted into a poor house. I had my first pair of shoes by grade 10, going to school barefoot until then. I was the guy going to sports days without pocket money because my father never had money to give me. Until this very day, and I'm almost 60 years old, I've never had the privilege of asking him for a dime, a penny or a cent. I never grew up in business. I didn't come from the backing of money. But I achieved great success in business by working very hard and by doing one thing, which I'm going to explain to you this morning. How do we do this? How do we get this right? There's this one thing. And I've realized in this journey that career is about performance. You know, and I've worked out there's a mathematical formula to performance. And the formula for performance is literally quite simple. It's attitude multiplied by skill, multiplied by effort. Now, here's the thing. You can have the greatest attitude in the world. But if you're a lazy bugger and you don't do the work, nothing happens because 100 times 100 times zero is zero. So my attitude is sitting at 100. My skill sits at 100. I'm very competent in my skill, but I don't do the work. And my effort is zero. It makes performance zero because 100 times 100 times zero is still zero. I can have all the skill in the world and work exceptionally hard, but have the wrong attitude. I'll still end up at zero. I can work very hard and have the great attitude and not do it right and end up at zero. It takes all three of those things. And in order to do that, the one little ingredient I found that really brings success is a word that I love, and it's the word intention. What is your intentions like? How do you set these intentions and how do you drive them? Now, here's the thing about human beings, you know, we sort of learn new things. And when we learn new things, we sort of try them out and then we give up too soon. We don't push hard enough. If you would just excuse me 1 second, I have someone at my front door. Let me just get rid of them quickly so I can spend time with you. Just bear with me one already. Cool. I'm back. We have this temporary thing we do. Instead of setting an intention, be intentional in everything you do. Now, when I speak about being intentional, it's being intentional as a habit, being habitual with it. So it's intentional in everything you do. Everything, not some things. You cannot get up in the morning and you are one person, and then you rock up at your office and you all of a sudden become another person. I don't get up in the morning and then I'm me, and then I rock up in my office and I become a good salesperson. No, I eat and sleep and live intentionally, and sales is what I do because it doesn't matter what business you're in or whether you're not in a business. If you're in a relationship, you're in sales. It has to become who and what you are, part of you. It has to be internalized. You're a coach. You're a trainer. It has to be the walk that you walk and the talk that you talk and what you live. It's not an occasional thing. Now, if I don't do this as my daily habit, as the way I do things, I'm going to really struggle hard when I'm sitting in front of a client to be intentional. because I'm trying something out that is so new to me that I haven't practiced it and I haven't internalized it and I haven't realized that in the process, this process of growth, there are 5 steps. And step one is called impact. I'm going to read, write, listen to new things. I'm going to learn new things. You're spending 9 days with a wonderful guy like Dion teaching you new stuff. Now, let me tell you, I've been here around 30 years. 20 of those I've been coaching. And I'm only now learning how things work. Mastery is a lifelong journey of which the end is never quite reached. You have to agree to be a lifelong student. You have to agree to be intentional with that. I cannot sometimes be intentional and sometimes not. I have to become habitual with what I do. I can't sometimes have a good mindset and sometimes not. I have to have the habit of right thinking. I don't just get that. And this is where what people have been telling us is all wrong. Positive thinking will do absolutely nothing for you. Nothing. Zero, zip, zero. The only thing that positive thinking does for you, it allows you to do things better than negative thinking. But we're way beyond this thing of I'm a positive thinker. I wake up happy every morning, I go at my work and I'm positive, and I'm going to have a great day. It has to be more than that. It has to be intentional. I have to decide in the beginning, what is the end result I want at the end of this conversation? When Dion reached out to me this morning and said, Stan, would you mind? I've heard this talk about intention. Would you mind coming to share that with my group? The first thing I did when I said yes is set an intention of what I want to bring to you, what the end result must look like, and then ask myself, what is my responsibility in this? What am I to do? What are the action steps I have to take? Now, to give you an idea, my day is really, really, really busy. I am a really, really busy person, as Dion have explained. So the first action step I had to take is pick the phone up and phone my client that was scheduled for 10 to 11 and say, buddy, I need to ask you a big favor, man. I really have this group of people that I feel in my heart I have to speak to this morning at 10 o'clock. And I would really, really appreciate it if I can just like move you up slightly tad to 11 o'clock. And I'm still going to serve you. It's just going to happen at 10, at 11, not 10. Would that be okay for you? I was intentional in that conversation. Not only was I intentional in yes, I'm going to jump in here, and yes, I'm going to do what Dion has asked me to do and share a great message with you and hopefully touch your life and bring a difference and a change to you. But as soon as I jumped on that call, I was intentional with that call. And it was a different intention. I get off that call, I jump on here, it's a different intention. Now, here's the thing. I do not make a cup of coffee without being intentional about it. So when I make that cup of coffee for my dear wife, and I've been blessed with an absolute stunning, beautifully strong woman as a wife, she's a beautiful person. So when I make that cup of coffee, I set the intention that I'll make it in such a way and so well that when she drinks it, she'll realize that I love her more than life itself. Without me having to tell her, she has to experience it. I apparently make the best coffee in our family. But I bet your bottom dollar I'm the only guy that makes a cup of coffee with intention of having that outcome. I love to cook. So when I have my friends and my family over and I cook them a steak, I set an intention and I want them to experience that steak to such a nature that they realize it comes from my heart. It comes sincerely. It comes that I care for them. I want them to experience that I love them. We so often, I don't know how many of you have kids. Give me a show of hands. How many of you have kids? Yeah, you got kids. Do you tell them you love them every day? You tell them you love them every day? Of course you do. It's your kids. Yes? How powerful is that message of I love you every day? How good is that? Is the good thing? Of course, it's a good thing. But does it lose its power at some point because it's monotonous? I love you, 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 and then it becomes a habit, and I love you, and they realize that's what you always say. So how do you change that? It's when I become intentional, and my intention is to find the opportune moment with that child. What does the opportune moment look like? When I'll catch him in that moment, him or her in that moment, doing something that it really is profound, and I look at him and I'm in awe, and I go, man, I'm doing a good job as a parent. Look at that child. Look at how that child greet the grown up. Look at how that child engage other kids. Look at how they play. Look at their manners. And I go, man, I'm a proud father. I'm really doing a good job. And I'm intentional. I find that opportune moment to engage with him and just put my arm around his shoulder and says, you know, my boyki, Dad wants to tell you today, I'm proud of you. I have noticed how you do this. That really makes my heart just feel warm. I'm super proud of you. Now, that kind of showing of love with that kind of intention goes this much further than I love you. By no stretch of the imagination do I ever ask you to not tell your kid that you love them, or your family member, or your husband, or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friend. You have to do that. But the devil lies in the detail. Dion have explained to you what I do when I send someone a book. Doesn't happen only to Dion. Someone orders a book from me, that's how I send it out. Why? I want them to see that I've taken care. I want them to see that it matters to me. I want them to create an experience for them that is profound, because that's my intention in life. When people engage with me, they should realize that I'm there to bring a profound experience to them. I'll share a story with you if you allow me. In 2017, I was invited to the Ziegler Conference and Family Reunion. Zig Ziglar is one of my personal mentors. I'm a good family friend of the Zieglers. His son, Tom Ziegler, and myself are really like brothers from another mother. We're really, really, really good friends. And I was finding myself in a room with 15 other people that I've never met in my entire life in Ziegler's training session. And each person in a room had a couple of minutes. And if I say a couple, literally, I mean a couple. You had 2 minutes of introduction to tell people who you are, where you're from, why are you here, what intentions do you have. And I used my 2 minutes. And then right after everyone used their 2 minutes, they did an exercise of the group where they took a piece of paper and stuck it on everyone's back. And then everyone in the group had to write something on that paper about that person behind their back. Here's the incredible thing. I spent the day with 15 people who have never met me in my life before. I spoke to them all but 2 minutes. 13 out of the 15 wrote on my paper, Steyn is the most intentional person we have ever met. And I just went, yeah, that's me. I have intention for everything. When I engage with you, whether it's a one-on-one conversation or whether it's a group conversation, whether it's a coaching session, a training session, just a friendly chat, I set an intention up front. First and foremost, that I'll be the best version I can be. And not only the best version I can be, but I'll be the best version God has created me to be. It's my intention to rock up as best as I can, not in comparison to someone else, in comparison to me, my standard. I don't do rules. Rules are made to be broken. I was that naughty child. I broke every single rule you gave me. But I believe high standards will take you much further than rules. So my first intention is for me to be the right kind of person, to be the best version of me that I've been created to be, to rock up and play full out, irrespective of who's in front of me, irrespective of how I feel, irrespective of the class of person, whether they're rich or poor, the color of their skin, the country they're from. I literally flew down on Friday morning, like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, down to Cape Town. Why? Tom Ziegler phoned me up last week and said, Stain, I got a good friend, Larry Carpenter. He's an incredible man. He's coming into South Africa to bring souls to the kingdom of God, and he needs help on the ground, buddy. He needs someone to show him the lay of the land. What does your program look like? And I said, Tom, my program is packed, buddy. It's stacked. But when is Larry arriving? And he says he's arriving on Thursday. I said, man, Thursday is going to be a stretch for me, but Friday morning early, I'll go to bed early on Thursday night. I'll be up at 4 o'clock. I'll be at the airport at 6. I'll be in Cape Town at 8 o'clock. Cleared my diary. Why? Here's this guy doing a great job, needing my help. If I'm going to play, I'm going to play full out. It's intentional. By the time I got to Cape Town, not only did I get to Cape Town on time and met with Larry on time, but I was prepared. I reached out to my network. I found the right people for Larry to engage with so he could do what he came here to do. I didn't want to just get to Cape Town and go, hi, Larry, here I am. How do I serve you? When I spoke to him on the phone, I asked, how can I serve you? I realized there are two components to being successful in life. One is to have a servant mentality. What can I do for you? And when you give, you have to give without expectation. Me coming on this platform this morning is a gift without expectation. There's no sales pitch at the end of this. There's no me giving you an offer. There's no me asking you to join me as a coach or to work with me, to join one of my programs. There's no me selling you something. There's me just rocking up 120% the best I possibly can with the intention of changing your life today. Here's the result. For Larry, he's going to spend 18 days in this country. I've set him up in a weekend to be able to spend 18 days here profoundly. I got him to sit down with the Speaker of our Parliament, Thoko Didize, and have meaningful conversation on Sunday morning. Because that's one of the things he wanted, to engage with someone powerful enough in our government. Managed to do that. Power. You have to be the right kind of person that does the right kind of things to have what life has to offer. You have to become intentional in everything you do. What do you hope to get out of this program today? What are your intentions? Now, if you hope to learn today to be profound, to change your life, you'll realize that that is your intention. You're going to listen better to what Dion has to say. You're going to make better notes. You're going to pay more attention. You're going to learn more. You're going to grow more. You're going to have a profound experience. Because that is your choice. You can rock up on this platform and hear Dion. You can hear him speak. And you can follow in the manual. But it has no impact on your life because you've not set an intention that you want this to change your life. Why do you want this to change your life? So that you can touch the lives of thousands of other people. Your success will help a tremendous amount of other people. Your failure will help no one. Failure is the feedback you need to grow. Failure is that thing that's going to help you learn. It's not helping anyone else. It's just helping you. It's a selfish thing. But we have to fail sometimes to learn. But I want you to see that your success will help a tremendous amount of other people. When you become intentional, you listen differently. You ask different questions. You engage differently. Your compassion is different. What do you want out of today? What do you want it to look like by the end of today's session? How are you going to put that to test? Are you going to what conversations are you going to have this evening with your family and friends around you about what you've learned? Because the moment we start sharing what we've gained, we 10x it. We make it more powerful. It finds space in our subconscious mind and it anchors it there. Why? This thing called intention, guys. We become intentional with everything you do. There's no half measure. Play full out. What does full out look like for you? Playing full out doesn't is not measured against how good or how well someone else does this. And I often find this, I love to join this. I just love this platform. I love Dion. I love the work that he does. And many of the coaches that are repeat coaches here, I see Dudu, I see Tumelo, those are guys that I know well. And they'll tell you I'm often, what is often on this platform? I think in the past year, I haven't missed it once. I can't be here all the time because I am really busy, but I find that moment where I just pick in, I say hello, and I fill my cup. It's intentional. Before I come in, I decide this is why I'm going to join. I want to say hello. I want to learn something, meet new people, hear what you got to say, questions you have to ask. Because in each one of those conversations, will I be learning something new? I call that growth. It's intentional. Remember that mastery is a lifelong journey of which the end is never quite reached. Life changes when you become intentional. I'm not talking this frivolous thing, this what I call surface level thing. I'm talking going deep in everything. How kind can you be to people? How many opportunities can you find? Now, I really thought that I'm doing a spectacular job with that until I met Larry Carpenter over the past weekend in Cape Town. Man, this guy is next level. And I had so much fun spending time with Larry because he's just such an incredible person that in 3 days I have learned a lifetime from this man. How? That was my intention to learn from him, to see how he does things. How do I do that? I take judgment out, park it somewhere else. I remove ego, park it somewhere else. Those are limiting things. I just sat and observed. And I see how this man in a restaurant speak to the waitress. And she's doing her best to be friendly and to provide a good service. And he calls her close and he says, Ma'am, may I ask what is your name? My name is Larry Carpenter, and I have a passion for people. I'm obsessed. And you got such a beautiful smile. I can see Jesus in your eyes. What is your relationship with God on a scale from 1 to 10? And I'm just like almost dumbstruck. And I see how people responded. Just telling him how it is and how well he handles that. Because that's his passion. That's what he does. And there's a lesson to be learned in that. And I had many conversations with Larry to find out he's an intentional dude. Because I asked him, Larry, how big a role does intention play for you? And when he told me, I said, man, that's why you and I get along together. I'm intentional too. It's about how you do things, what you put out there, how you treat people. What do you want your results to look like when you go into a coaching session? How intentional will you be today in everything you do and everything you learn, in every encounter you have? On the same trip in 2017, it had such a profound impact on me. My wife and I decided to spend some time in Los Angeles after a week in Dallas. And I booked the Hilton Hotel at Universal Studios. I had the privilege of traveling the world many, many times over and stay in the best hotels and fly first class to many, many destinations in my career. And I arrived at the Hilton Hotel, and it's the busiest hotel I've seen in my life. And we arrived at the hotel about 10 o'clock in the morning when we full well knew that we can only book in at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The hotel told us up front. And as we arrived in, we get to the hotel, it's about 10 in the morning. I go stand in the queue, and Celeste gives me the old elbow and says, what are you doing? And I look at her and I say, I'm booking in. What do you mean? She says, but it's only 10 in the morning. I said, I know. She said, but they're not going to have the room ready. I said, it might be. We don't know that. And I waited my turn and I got to this very friendly old lady to the front and she's mashing the keys, as Zig would like to call it. And she looks me in the eyes with a friendly smile and she says, Mr. Rousseau, I am so, so sorry, but your room isn't ready. And I can feel, Celeste never said anything, but I could feel inside, I could actually hear her say, I told you so. They told us up front there's only going to be ready at 2 o'clock. I said, no problem. Can you hold our luggage? And we're going to go out for a cup of coffee and we'll be back. And I think we were back at about, I think, 12 o'clock. I'm back in line. Celeste goes, what are you doing? I said, I am checking in. She said, but didn't the lady tell you 2 o'clock? I said, yes, but today I'm just going to zig it. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, one of the things I've learned in the past week in Dallas to be intentional and to be kind, no matter what. And I'm just going to like put that to the test. Let's see what happens. And that's one thing I want to teach you today. Put everything to the test. Whether you think it's going to work, don't think it's going to work. Believe in what Dion tells you. Don't believe in what Dion tells you. Take whatever he teaches you and put it into action. Go and try it out. Put it to the test. Only time to know whether it works or not. And I'm standing in that row and I'm getting to that same lady. And I said, ma'am, I am back. And she smiled at me and she mashed the keys. And she says, Mr. Rousseau, I'm so sorry, man. And before she could like finish that sentence of telling me the room isn't ready, she said, but let me see what I can do for you. And she goes back in that computer and she says, you can't believe it, I find your room. I said, well, thank you very much, ma'am. And she says, I hope you'd like it. I said, well, I booked a standard room and I'm sure this is the Hilton. A standard room would be absolutely awesome. And so I'd be happy with anything you give me because in this hotel, I don't believe there could be a bad room. And she finds the porter to take our luggage up and she gives me the key. And she said, I hope you like it. It's overlooking the swimming pool and Universal Studios. Please enjoy your stay with us. For me to realize when I got upstairs that she's given me a suite at no charge. My wife and I got to stay in that suite for an entire week at no extra charge. Why? I removed ego. I removed expectation. I never expected anything from her. I give without expectation, intentionally, with intention of touching that person's life with my behavior, with my engagement, with how I treat them. It had such an impact on my life that I created a game called the Game of Ziggit. It's a game about random acts of kindness. It's 31 cards in a deck. You pull a card out randomly, random card. Each card is a different thing that you do as a random act of kindness. Because here's the thing, people often complain about people not being kind to them, and they haven't learned the lesson of life. In order to get, you have to give first. And you can never take more than you give. And you have to give without expectation. So I created this game so that you can perform a random act of kindness every day without ego, without judgment, without any strings attached to it. It's a gift without expectation, intentionally. It took me about 2 years to put this game together, and maybe I have it back here that I can actually show you. Hopefully on the camera here, I'm going to just hold it here to my chest. It branded it, did it like that. Devil is in the detail. I do nothing if I don't do it proper. 2 years later, in 2019, I'm in Dallas to launch this to the Ziegler fraternity. And there's about 800 coaches, trainers worldwide in this conference. And I'm launching this. And one day before the time, I said to Celeste, let's play the game. Let's open a pack before we give this to other people. Let's just play it and see what happens. Let's set an intention that this will be profound, that it will change lives, that it will touch thousands of people's lives. I open that deck fresh. I draw a card randomly. It said, buy a child that is sick in hospital a coloring book. I'm in Dallas, Texas. I first and foremost don't know where to buy it, so I had to track down and find a store. Then I had to track down and find a hospital, which proved to be quite more difficult than here, because first hospital we arrived at, There were no kids. They sent me off to the Dallas Children's Hospital, which was the most spectacular hospital I've ever been to. We video recorded this whole thing of going to Walmart, buying the coloring book, the crayons, the whole thing. I get to Dallas Children's Hospital. I'm super excited. I'm amped. I'm pumped. And I ran into it's America. It's not South Africa. There's a security guard that's really big. And he's telling me, "Do you have a kid in this hospital?" And I go, "No, sir." He says, "So for that reason, you're not coming in." It took me a half an hour to explain to this kind gentleman who I am, what I'm here to do. And then he was still very skeptical. I said, "Mr. Rousseau, I'm going to allow you in, but your wife stays down here. You can't take her with you. I want you to come back and fetch your wife, so you can't take her with. And I don't know what floor is going to work for you, but you can choose either 5 or 6." I got into that elevator, and what I thought random was push number 6. I got to the 6th floor to find the doors to the ward is open. I would later on find out that those doors are normally locked. I got to the nurse's station to find but one nurse. I explained to her what I'm there to do. I have the coloring book in my hand, my deck of cards in the other hand, explaining to her who I am, what I'm there to do. And she turned around to me and said, "Mr. Rousseau, would you mind giving that coloring book to this little young man, and right next to that one single nurse stand a single little Hispanic boy about 4 years old. He's sick in hospital. He loves coloring in, and I see him coloring in on a photocopy, and he has no family. Would you mind giving this book to this child?" I ask you, what are the chances that I could travel from South Africa to Dallas, Texas, 30-hour flight, find the right hospital, get past the security, go up to the 6th floor, find the doors open, find a single nurse with the right child that needs that book right there, right in that moment, right there, find that child to give it to, making a profound difference, being overwhelmed by emotion, running downstairs to share with my wife, realizing I left my cards upstairs, shooting back up, finding the doors are now locked. Cards had to stay there. Taking me half an hour to get in again. Finding that single nurse, I found every other nurse in hospital and shared this experience. Teaching me that when you touch a life, you'll not only touch that one life, you'll touch 1,000 others. When you give without expectation, intentionally, life happens for the better. Life changes. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what class or standard you come from, how much money you have or have not. It matters what your intentions are and what your heart looks like. Are you willing to let go of your ego? Or were you willing to let go of your preconceived ideas, of your status? Are you willing to give without expectation? Are you willing to make a difference and be intentional? Learn all there is to know. I'm going to close the session off by saying there's the 2 biggest lessons in business you'd find in the movie Forrest Gump. Lesson 1 was life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you get until you open it up, until you put it to the test, until you eat it. The second lesson is after all these excursions, I don't know how many of you have seen Forrest Gump, after all of these excursions, him and his friend Bubba sets up a shrimping company because Bubba knew how to catch shrimp and Forrest learned from him. And they failed dismally for a long time. And then one morning they struck gold. They found a mother lode. They become super rich and super successful. And someone asked him, "What was the key to your success?" And here comes the profound answer he offered. "I have learned everything there's to learn about the shrimping business." And I want to leave you with that message this morning before I allow questions. Learn everything there's to learn about the coaching business. Learn everything there is to learn about neurolinguistic programming. Let this not be your last encounter with learning. Let this be the start to your journey. Dion will offer you many absolutely wonderful programs that will lift you another level. Learn everything there is to learn about the coaching business so that you might share with other people, uplift them, change their lives. fix real world problems, guide them, help them, pull them towards a solution they already have inside of them. You're going to learn it's not about how much advice we can give, but how good we can ask questions. We're going to learn that statements push and questions pull, how to engage people meaningful and have meaningful conversation. But let's agree today that every conversation you will have from this day forth will come with an intention up front. Every engagement you have will be intentional. Everything you do will be intentional. It is incredible to witness, and I've witnessed this many, many times over, how people's lives just change when they are prepared to do what it takes to push ego aside, to give without expectation, to become super intentional in everything you do. We tend to take a known past and drag it into a predictable future, and we forget the magic of the internal now, this moment. We forget that in this moment, right here, right now, you're at exactly the right place where you're supposed to be. You're with the people you're supposed to be in this moment. Many of you might have met here for the first time when you started with Dion on Saturday. You would have found by now it's the right people in this session for the people in this session. And every session is different. If you would just be willing to let go of that known past, there's no changing the past, good or bad. To not predict your future based on that past, but to find the magic of the internal now, the moment. When we woke up this morning, we got a gift. It's called the present, today. How intentional can I be today? How many lives can I touch today? How good a person can I be? How many right things can I do? Am I going to take the marrow out of today? Tomorrow is promised to no one. To yesterday, I can bring no change. I can merely learn from it. If you promise yourself and no one else that you won't drag the known past into a predictable future, that you'll use that magic of the now, of this moment, and realize you are always in the right place at the right time and take maximum out of that, that you'll have an absolutely wonderful career as a coach, that you'll be profound, that you'll change many lives, and that people will look up to you for guidance. I appreciate you all. I love you all. I hope this was beneficial to you, that there was one little nugget you could take from this conversation. And if there are any questions, I think there's another 5 or 6 minutes. Dion, thank you for allowing me on your platform. I'm really humbled and really appreciate to be able to share with fellow coaches, with people of passion about changing people's lives. If there's any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I thank you.
I'm going to say something first. Can I say something?
You're welcome.
Join me if you guys agree. Hooah!
Thank you.
Wow.
Dudu's got a hand up. Morning, Dudu.
Hello.
Morning, Dion. Morning, everyone. I'm in the car, as you can see, but I can't not say anything after Stan has spoken. By the way, thank you so much, Stan. That was so inspirational. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, I am in Stan's program. There is a program that he is running. So we had a session on Tuesday. Our sessions are on Tuesday, and I thought I'm gonna put this to test. This thing of living with intention and putting everything with intent, doing everything with intention. I'm gonna have to put it to test. So I stopped working in May of last year, and I never claimed my UIF. So, and it's May again. So I just thought to myself, you know what? I don't have the emotional capacity to go to a government department and stand in that queue and. You know what comes with that. But after last week's session, I was really challenged, and I thought, what can I do to put this to test? On Thursday evening, literally, I decided I'm gonna go to Department of Labor. Let's see what happens. The intention was, so there's other things that we are learning in this program, your affirmations, your other things that we are learning. And I thought I'm gonna put this to test. If you've been through that process, you will know that it can easily take a full month, right? 4 weeks for them to process. And they send you an SMS, come and sign. I just didn't have that in me to go and do that. So Thursday morning, Friday morning, I go, I walk there. The issue of being kind, staying, that goes a very long way. Hi guys, how are you? I'm kind. I have my book. I'm gonna read in those queues. I'm gonna sit and read. Believe it or not, the guy that I went to was so nice to me. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. We greeted, and 2 hours later, I walked out of that office. I don't have to go back. That guy was so kind. He kept on saying to me, go sit down. Let's do the next process. Let me allow the computer to do this. He kept out my application, same day, everything. So at the back and forth that I needed to do, I'm not going to do anymore. And he said to me, you don't even have to come and sign. I'm going to make sure that you get your lump sum by the end of next week. So living with intentions, then I've put it to test. It works. And thank you so much for that. Yeah. So I really needed to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dudu, and thank you for playing full out. That's the results when you play full out. You do, let me just take this off here. You do the work.
Yeah. Did you ask yourself number?
Oh, no.
I'm just teasing.
He actually wanted me to give him something. I said, no, I can't. I mean, he just got paid. Even if he didn't get paid, it's not my problem. He was just doing his job anyway. So yeah,
No, I like it. I'm just
living with
teasing you, girl.
intention. I know. And putting everything that we are learning to practice. I'm also learning that we've learned a lot of things over the years. How many of those things have we really put them into practice? So I'm really challenging myself to be intentional, to check. Stan has taught us to check our emotions, rather our thoughts. From time to time in the day, I catch myself. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
And if it's a negative thought, it's needing me to change it to a positive thought. So we are learning a lot of things. My challenge to you, everyone on the platform right now, whatever we have learned, let us put it into practice. Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay,